Well, good evening to you. Welcome to another Name of God. It's not been a particularly pleasant day today, has it, if you don't enjoy being outside in the rain. However, I'm sure the gardens are going to look wonderfully green from having had a drink of water, and the ducks have loved it. My ducks always love the rain. Expression is, it's lovely weather for ducks. I'm going to walk the dog later on, and I'll just have to wash all the muddy stuff and dry all the wet clothes, but at least the dogs will have had their walk, and I'm sure that they don't mind. So today, what have I got for you? Well, I've got the Hebrew word Nahsah. I think that's how we pronounce it. Some of you will be saying, yes, I know that. I didn't know this, but it means forgiving God. And what I do know is it's demonstrated really well as we read Psalm 99:8. Lord our God, you answered them. You were to Israel a forgiving God, though you punished their misdeeds. So it's really well demonstrated here, the fact that they've obviously done something wrong, yet God forgives them for their mistakes, for their sins. The biggest need for people who do something wrong, who sin, is not someone who understands why they did it or have a little pat on the back and a bit of a sympathy party for them. It's forgiveness, a forgiveness of their wrongdoing, and then a true healing can take place. And as we look at the name Nahsah, the God who forgives, on a biblical perspective, we only have to look back in history. We look back to Adam and Eve when they sinned in the garden, and God just didn't turn around to them and say, right, no more children, that's it, have had enough, I'm just going to zap you dead. No, he forgave them. He forgave them, and then he gave them blessings of children and the animals and the food and the trees and things to survive in the world. And then as you progress through the history, you've got the Israelites, the nation of Israel, and they repeatedly messed up. They repeatedly turned away from God and sinned immensely. But what they did do is that they turned around and said, God, I'm sorry. Okay, and God extended forgiveness to them because he's a loving, forgiving God. And then as the history progressed, God did the ultimate forgiveness, the ultimate act of love. He sent his son Jesus. Jesus was born as a man. He came and he died on a cross as a sacrifice for our sins to be forgiven. Just like in the Old Testament, they had to use animals for their sins to be forgiven, and God said, yeah, that's fine, you've done that. But God sent his son. So anything that we do now, anything that we will do in the future, and anything we've done in the past, the whole bundle was forgiven when Jesus died and was sacrificed on that cross. So that's great news for us, isn't it? Why did God do that? Because he's a loving, caring Father. So when we keep in mind God's mercy for us, it then becomes easier to extend that mercy and forgiveness to others, just as he wants us to do. God doesn't hold anything that we've done accountable. He doesn't say to us, well, because you've made a mistake so many times, I'm not going to forgive you anymore. He always wants to extend that forgiveness to us, as long as we say, look, and hold our hands up and we say we're sorry, okay? And someone say, well, okay, maybe if you've done, so many things wrong, does there become a point where God will turn around and say, I'm not forgiving you anymore? No. He even tells us in the New Testament, in fact, it's in Matthew, when one of his disciples asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive my brothers and sisters? And Jesus answered, 70 times 7. Now that's not for us to calculate how many times that is, okay? What he's trying to say is you've got to keep forgiving them, extending your forgiveness to them. So when we have been forgiven much, we should love much. And that is the whole message around this. I hope that's blessed you, and I'll catch you tomorrow.